Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Here are all the headlines we are tracking this evening. The record run continues on Dalal Street. Sensex and Nifty hit lifetime highs even though the gains remain modest. Nifty ends at record high for the fourth straight session. M&M Top Brass shares its 3-point growth strategy with CNBC TV 18 on its Investor Day. The strategy includes capitalizing on market leadership in auto and farm segments, unlocking potential in IT and financial services, and chasing high growth in its emerging portfolio. Weak start to the monsoon season. The Met Department highlights a 20% deficit rainfall in June so far, predicts heatwave conditions to continue in North India, but forecasts heavy rains in southern India, Sub-Himalayan, West Bengal, Assam and Meghalaya. Vodafone Group likely to sell close to 10% stake in Indus Tower as per sources. The debt-laden telecom giant looks to raise over $1 billion via the block deal. Sources add that the block price range would be between 310 and 341 rupees. A maximum of 10% discount has been offered. Zomato is in talks with Paytm to buy its movies and ticketing business. Both companies confirm the talks while also adding that a disclosure is not warranted at this stage. The Supreme Court issues notices to the National Testing Agency and the Union Govt seeking a response over alleged question paper leak and other irregularities in the national eligibility cum entrance test for admission at medical colleges amidst widespread protests by students. Just about a month to go for the union budget. Industry bodies seek a simpler tax structure for the salaried class and rationalization of capital gains. Also call on the government to increase its capex by 25%. The advertising industry is up in arms as the government's self-certification portal goes live following a Supreme Court order. Advertisers slam the one-size-fits-all approach, claim the rules for television are being forced on the digital ecosystem. At least 10 people were killed and over 50 injured after a freight train rammed into the Kanchenjunga Express near Siliguri. This comes a year after the Coromandel Express collision which killed nearly 300 people in Odisha's Balasore. At least 17 Palestinians killed in overnight strikes on a refugee camp, according to Hamas officials. Tensions also rise at Israel's border with Lebanon after reports of a drone infiltration by Hezbollah fighters. Priyanka Gandhi takes the electoral plunge to contest Wayanad by-elections after Rahul Gandhi chooses to relinquish it and retain Raebareli. The BJP accuses the Congress of indulging in dynastic politics. The Congress hits back, points out that Prime Minister Modi had relinquished Vadodara in 2014 as well. Let's start with the day's market action. Records continue to tumble on Dalal Street even though the gains were limited. The Nifty closed at a lifetime high for the fourth straight session, gaining over 90 points. The Sensex gained over 300 points. Mid-cap index closed at record high for the sixth straight session. Getting you the top corporate story this evening. Mahindra and Mahindra's Top Brass has shared its 3-point growth strategy with CNBC TV 18 on its Investor Day. Group CEO and Managing Director Anish Shah has said that the strategy includes capitalizing on market leadership in auto and farm segments. The company said it also aims to unlock potential in IT and targeted a margin expansion of over 500 basis points as part of its multi-year growth plan.
Growth and returns has been in our DNA. Unlocking full potential in Tech Mahindra and Mahindra Finance. Both are businesses that are very strong franchises. Both have had some struggles in the recent past and have underperformed their peers. But the lessons from there have put significant plans for growth over the next few years. Mahindra Finance is well on the path to turnaround. TechM with Mohit Joshi coming in has just commenced its turnaround. And both are businesses that I think are going to be very good for the investor and obviously for the group. And then the third is our growth gems. This is a set of 10 businesses. All of them have great potential. We have increased the valuation of growth gems over the last 4 years by 5x, from roughly 0.9 billion to about 4.2 billion at the end of the last fiscal year.
Several growth drivers for the tractor market here. We are very far from saturation. We have a big opportunity to gain share there, and products which we've recently launched, the 3XO, allows us to do that. So there is we are number 5 in that segment in the compact segment by way of rank. So and we think we really have a strong proposition with 3XO, which can make us number 1 or number 2 or 3 years. So there's a lot we can do in ICE, many new products, some refreshes or mid-cycle enhancements, as we call them, some completely new products. So, and we want to stay invested in ICE because at least 70% of the market 3 years from now will be ICE.
We will deliver a 15% EBIT margin by FY27, and so that is the plan. It's a 3-year plan. Again, I'm very reluctant to give quarterly or near-term targets because there is a lot of volatility, right? And because, as we've said, we're in the middle of a turnaround story. In the first year, you should expect volatility. You should expect us to go, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, because that is the nature of the business, right? We're also investing heavily in the business to create the foundation for long-term success. But we've given a very clear expectation of where we expect to be from a growth perspective, from a return on capital perspective, from a free cash flow perspective, and from a margin perspective by FY27, and to build to build on what already is a world-class franchise. I think things are certainly looking better than they did, a year ago. And from our perspective, look, we have a new strategic narrative of scale at speed. We have reorganized the organization. So we also have our own internal tailwinds working for us. But I would say that it's less dire than it was a year ago. And it certainly seems like things are going to get better 6 to 12 months down the line further.
It's been a weak start to the Indian monsoon season so far. As per the Met Department, India received 20% less rainfall than normal since the start of June. The Met Department has predicted heatwave conditions to continue in North India for the next few days. However, it has predicted heavy rainfall in several regions, including South India, Sub-Himalayan, West Bengal, Assam and Meghalaya, among others. Deficit rainfall in North India and large parts of East India comes as a concern for the agriculture sector, as timely onset of monsoon is critical for Kharif crops. The Met Department expects monsoon to pick up in Maharashtra later this week. We also spoke to private weather forecasting agency SkyMet, who expect rains to pick up across India by July.
So whenever monsoon current is strong, we get a very good rain. Once the monsoon is onset, and then afterwards, after 2-3 days, winds became moderate. And because of the moderate wind, we didn't get the monsoon current towards our coast. That's why intensity of rainfall has reduced. But now, if you see next coming 2-3 days, the intensity is again, the intensity of the winds are strengthening, and we are expecting from 20th, we'll have a very good monsoon rain in upcoming days.
The monsoon is on revival mode. So we think that the deficit, pan-India deficit, which stands at 20% now, gradually it will improve. The neutral conditions will develop by end of the June, and by second half of July, the La Nina conditions will start developing, and we think that second half of July will see sufficient monsoon rain. August and September seem to be much better than June and July.
Food aggregator Zomato is in advanced talks with Paytm for the fintech's movie and ticketing business. Both sides have said that while talks are ongoing, no binding agreement has been put into place yet. Manglam Malu joins us now. Manglam, if the deal were to fructify, what would it really mean for both sides?
It's a nod to the new regulations of SEBI, which require companies to give clear communication on news articles that come by. This is, reports that came during the weekend that Zomato will buy Paytm's entertainment business in a deal size anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 odd crores. And both the companies have very shortly told the exchanges that yes, they are actually in talks for a potential deal for the sale of Paytm's entertainment business, though no binding agreement has been arrived at yet. Now, this is a positive deal for both the companies. Why is that? Because this will aid Zomato's going out business, which includes, dine out, etc., and a lot of these events that Zomato has been seeding over the last 12 to 18 months. In FY24, did a revenue of almost 258 crores, a fraction in the overall revenue of Zomato. But then again, this is where the company is seeding growth. And secondly, Paytm, which acquired Insider.in, NH7 Weekend, EDC and the Grubfest in 2018 for an undisclosed amount, has been on this path of selling out its non-core businesses. And if the deal were to happen in this 1,500 to 2,000 crore valuation band that the street is speaking about, it will give them some reprieve, some liquidity. And for Zomato itself, it won't cost too much of their cash balance as well. The cash on their books as of March 2024 were close to 12,241 crores. With strong growth in Blinkit, with break even in their food delivery business, likely break even in Blinkit soon as well, with increased cash per quarter, these acquisitions is something that the street wouldn't mind. Had this been about a couple of years ago, then maybe this would have been termed as an adventurism. But right now, it is a fairly liberal use of the cash that they have to seed growth in their verticals, which are smaller right now, but where Zomato sees more potential.
Thanks, Mangalam, for joining us. Gross direct tax collections for the financial year 24-25 have grown 22% year-on-year. Net direct tax collections for the period rose 21%, while advanced tax collections grew by 27%. Refunds issued in the fiscal till the 17th of June are 34% higher than refunds issued during the same period in the preceding year. Now, Travel News Technology, the parent company of travel aggregator Ixigo, made a stellar debut on Dalal Street. The stock listed at a 49% premium over its issue price. The company's 720 crore rupee public issue received robust response from QIB and HNI category. The company plans to use the proceeds from the issue to fund its working capital needs, invest in cloud infra and finance potential acquisitions. The advertising industry has flagged concerns over the Supreme Court imposed rule that mandates companies to upload self-declaration against misleading advertisements. Advertisers claim that this one-size-fits-all approach could have a severe impact on the industry. Ashmit Kumar explains us why. Ashmit.
Well, let's begin with some context. The Supreme Court, while hearing the case of misleading advertisements by Patanjali, had widened the scope of proceedings. The Supreme Court expressed concerns on misleading advertisements and thereby put out very clear directions that all advertisers, irrespective of size, platform, will have to give an undertaking to the government saying that there is no misleading content or claim as a part of that advertisement. MIB, responding to that direction, issued guidelines, advisories, and then finally came out with a portal asking for advertisers to put up declarations, self-declarations on that portal. That portal goes live today, and therein lies the rub. The industry has expressed concern that this will cause a huge setback for the industry, and that has raised questions about the practicality of this entire suggestion of this entire portal. The industry is claiming that this will significantly ramp up the compliance burden and the compliance costs. It will unduly affect startups, MSMEs, there are rules, TV rules being cast in toto, in entirety, force-fitted onto digital entities, that digital entities don't need this. They are already regulated under the IT Act as well as other various legislations, also raising questions about how practical this entire exercise is. The industry is arguing that on an annual basis, there are crores and crores of advertisements that are put out, that if there are declarations being put out for each and every individual advertisement, the MIB simply does not have the bandwidth to effectively review these undertakings being given by advertisers. And finally, raising the question that as far as the journey forward is concerned, the Apex Court perhaps needs to take a more considerate view of the concerns of the industry. So huge concerns here by the industry, but the portal goes live today amidst the concerns being expressed by various advertisers. Back to you.
All right, Ashmit Kumar will be getting us more views on this in the days to come. Vodafone Group is likely to sell up to 9.94% equity in Indus Towers via block deal. This roughly amounts to $1.1 billion. Sources have told CNBC TV18 that the offer price range for the block deal is between 310 rupees to 341 rupees per share, which is at a discount of up to 9.9% to the current market price. With the NDA 3 government getting down to business, all eyes are on the Union Budget. Sources tell CNBC TV18 that the budget will be presented on the 22nd of July. A formal announcement is due after a post-budget consultation with the Revenue Secretary. Industry body CII has sought for an increase in capital expenditure by 25% versus 16.8% rise proposed in the interim budget. CII has also sought for steps to provide marginal relief in income tax at the lower end of the spectrum, with taxable income up to 20 lakh rupees. They have also sought a reduction in excise duties on petrol and diesel.
We have had a range of issues that were discussed, very engaging discussion, and covering sectors like capital expenditure, private capex has already kicked in, looking at agriculture, rural areas, startups, beefing up social infrastructure, looking at some employment-intensive sectors like, real estate and apparel and toys, and what kind of ways there are to promote it. So broad-ranging areas were discussed.
In as much as our suggestions are concerned, we very specifically stayed away from any asks for concessions and exemptions, because I think it is more important to focus on the growth potential and what can be done to actualize it. And in that regard, we have followed the broad principles of simplification to enhance ease of doing business, to look at measures which can reduce litigation, and where there is litigation, what is a simple way out which works for both sides. So broadly, I think that has been our focus.
Main thing which was saying that we need to increase the ease of business in the industry, and Revenue Secretary was very upfront, and he said whatever are the points will be taken up, and I'm sure with the positive mindset of the government, we will be taking, the industry will be benefiting from that, and for ease of business of India will improve manifolds.
Real estate tycoon Niranjan Hiranandani has laid out his wish list ahead of the Union Budget next month. In an interview with CNBC TV 18, Hiranandani said that he would like the Finance Minister to bring about a parity on capital gains tax for the sector.
If you sell a share, long-term capital gains tax is 1 year and 10%, while in the case of housing, it is 3 years and 20%. I think investment into housing segment also needs to be encouraged in a similar way as you do in the capital markets. So we will expect that will really happen quickly and put a kind of a parity in investments into. We still have a long way to fulfill the requirements of roti kapda makan. Roti kapda you have fulfilled, makan you have not yet fulfilled.
We also spoke to Dinesh Kanabar of Dhruva Advisors. He said that a simplified tax structure where there is one standard TDS rate for the salaried class was a key ask.
So our suggestion has been to have a very simplified TDS structure with a single rate. So there is a TDS for salaries, there's a TDS for earnings by way of race horses or lottery, etc. And balance should be a single rate rather than multiple rates, which forces the tax withholder to make choices. And same thing for TCS. So today we have multiple rates of taxes. I remember for CNBC I had prepared a chart, and even when I prepared it as a practitioner, it was so difficult to really categorize. So we have taxes for long-term, short-term, different assets, resident, non-residents, all of that. And the question really was, is there a way in which one can rationalize number of, it can't be done away totally, but can, for example, we have a common rate between residents, non-residents? Can we have doing away with the multiple surcharges that exist? All of those. So we put quite a few things out there.
Imami Agrotech CEO Sudhakar Desai has said he expects more investment in the oilseed sector ahead of the budget. He has suggested a list of incentives the government could provide to farmers to reduce import dependency.
We need to allocate about 21,000 crores. We are trying to give a breakup to invest into this oilseed sector. So in order of priority of our import dependency reduction program, we need to definitely focus on oil palm and mustard and groundnut and also sunflower. The differential under FTAs has been reduced to 8.25. That and whereas exporting palm oil countries have given about 8 to 9% of incentive for exports. To correct this anomaly, we've been asking that the differential be widened.
Coming up on India Business Hour, railway professionals say a wider rollout of Kavach system should be a top priority after the horrific Kanchenjunga Express accident. And you can also catch all CNBC TV 18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. You're watching India Business Hour. From Congress's star campaigner and backroom strategist to now a likely commander. It's the start of a new innings for 52-year-old Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. She would be contesting the Wayanad by-poll after her brother Rahul decided to relinquish the seat and retain Raebareli. Remember, Rahul Gandhi had won both Raebareli and Wayanad Lok Sabha polls by a thumping majority. The BJP has accused Rahul Gandhi of deceiving Wayanad voters. The Congress hit back, saying that the BJP need not worry about their party matters.
Priyanka Gandhi has the right to contest from anywhere in the country, but there are many questions that arise from this decision of the Congress, and in particular Rahul Gandhi. As you know, Rahul Gandhi was a sitting MP in Wayanad. The people of Wayanad elected him in 2019, gave him a 5-year mandate. He deceived them. And today, after they have in good faith supported him and given him one more chance to do something for the people, he is basically washing his hands and saying, look, I am going to Raebareli.
To keep that political morality, Rahul Gandhi should have informed the Wayanad constituency voters. It is not only that they have given a victory to them, the voters should be informed that he is, in his mind, he is planning to contest another constituency. He did not inform this. That's an injustice to the voters of Wayanad.
रायबरेली को भी 2 सांसदों का लाभ मिलेगा और वायनाड को भी 2 सांसदों का लाभ मिलेगा। मुझे लगता है इससे अच्छा कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं हो सकता था। बहुत अच्छा। रही बात भारतीय जनता पार्टी की, तो हम उन्हें रोक थोड़े रहे हैं। आए वायनाड में, उनका कोई भी नेता मोदी जी लड़ना चाहते हैं, उनका स्वागत है, कोई रोक थोड़े रहा है उनको। आप हमारी पार्टी में तय मत कीजिए कि हमें किसको टिकट देनी है। आप अपनी पार्टी की चिंता कीजिए। आपको किसको लड़वाना है, लड़वाइए ना, कौन रोक रहा है आपको।
At least 10 people have been killed after a freight train rammed into the rear of the Kanchenjunga Express near Siliguri in West Bengal on Monday morning. 4 compartments at the rear of the stationary passenger train went off the rails during the impact. Most of these coaches were carrying cargo. The Chief Commissioner of Railway Safety of the Northeast Frontier Railway has begun an inquiry into the matter, and a preliminary report is expected in 24 hours. The accident comes a year after the Coromandel Express collision, which killed nearly 300 people in Odisha's Balasore. Danish Anand joins us now. Danish, give us a sense of what could have possibly led to this tragic mishap.
But the Chief Commissioner of Railway Safety of the Northeast Frontier Railway has started inquiry in the Kanchenjunga Express accident. It is expected that the preliminary report will be out in the next 24 hours. What we know till now is the fact that the goods train barged into the Kanchenjunga Express from behind. Most of the impact was absorbed by the parcel vans, and if there were normal passenger coaches instead of parcel vans, then the casualties could have been much higher. As per sources, the signalling system in that particular section was not functional since 5:55 am. The loco pilots were given a document called TA912. Well, TA912 is given to loco pilots when there are issues with the signaling system and the trains can pass signals but with precaution. In such cases, the loco pilots need to approach the red signal at 10 km per hour speed, bring his train to a stop as close as possible to the rear of the signal, wait for 1 minute during the daytime and 2 minutes during the night, and then proceed with extreme caution. However, in this case, it is quite possible that the pilot of the goods train violated the speed limit and he unfortunately passed away in the accident. However, the assistant loco pilot survived the accident and is currently in a deep state of shock. So once the preliminary report is out, we will come to know what exactly caused the accident. As far as the operations are concerned, both the upline and downline have been restored and trains are running on the route as usual.
As of now, only 1,400 odd kilometers in South Central Railway are equipped with Kavach. What we have to note is that money is not a problem today. Enough money is being pumped in by central government into railways. So funds, which is always a problem, is not a problem today. It's the question of execution. So I would think that it should become priority number 1. And if it becomes the main focus of railways, I think the system can gear itself to do, say, 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers every year.
Either the Indian Railway Board should take a decision on whether they are very much satisfied with the cover system and then they should proceed. Or if they think that the cover system is not up to the mark or if it is not up to the level that they expect, then they must give a clear instructions on how to improve the cover system further so that all aspects of collisions are taken care, because basically the cover system should identify all kinds of accident prevention.
In international news, at least 17 Palestinians were killed in overnight strikes on a refugee camp, according to Hamas officials. Tensions have also risen at Israel's border with Lebanon after reports of a drone infiltration by Hezbollah fighters. Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to travel to North Korea and meet the country's leader, Kim Jong-un. The Kremlin has called the two-day event a friendly state visit. Russian media has reported that Putin and Kim may sign partnership agreements, including one on security issues. This will be Putin's first trip to the country in more than 2 decades. Indian national Nikhil Gupta, who is accused of being involved in a murder for hire plot against Sikh separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannun on American soil, has pleaded not guilty in a US federal court. Gupta was extradited to the US from the Czech Republic on the 14th of June. US prosecutors have alleged that Gupta was working for unnamed Indian government officials. The issue has been taken up by the US with the Indian government at the highest level. India has also instituted an inquiry to look into allegations made by US officials. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met his American counterpart in the national capital on the 17th of June. Doval and Sullivan pledged to deepen the partnership between the two nations in critical and new technologies. They also agreed to bolster ties in areas of defense technology, artificial intelligence. This meeting was on the back of Sullivan's 2-day visit to India. Thailand's Senate has passed a marriage equality bill which will pave the way for it to become the first Southeast Asian country to recognize same-sex marriages. The bill requires endorsement from the king before marriage equality can become an official law. However, this process is considered a formality. The law will then come into effect 120 days after it is published in the Royal Gazette. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you for watching. News continues here on CNBC TV 18.